he okay with being filmed in? Hello?
I think so.
Oh, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I've heard wonderful things about you. I'm delighted to meet you.
Nice to see
Thank
you. Manny, to think
Andy.
It's a pleasure.
My son Gideon.
Gideon, how are you?
Thanks
Good to
for
see
having
you.
me.
Meet you, Jim. Thanks for doing this for us.
Of course, of course.
Hi, I'm Mandy.
How are you?
Hello there.
Hello.
My name is Randy Manor. I'm a retired U.S. Army Major General.
Retired Coast Guard Reserve Captain and a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense.
Spent 27 years in uniform, retired as a United States Army Colonel, and also served 3 years in the U.S. intelligence community as the Principal Deputy Undersecretary of Intelligence for Department of Homeland Security.
I am a retired naval officer and a retired senior in the defense intelligence community.
I'm a retired U.S. Navy commander.
I spent 34 years in the Marine Corps, retired as a Major General.
I retired from the Army as a Command Sergeant Major, which is the highest enlisted rank that you can achieve.
I'm a former Army officer. I then went on to be the Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Military Community and Family Support. I was then confirmed as the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Manpower and Reserve Affairs. I am a former Republican, but I'm voting for Kamala Harris, proudly.
And I am a former Republican who's enthusiastically voting for Harris and Walz. And I'm a former Republican who's voting for Vice President Harris and Governor Walz.
Social friends or business friends or maybe neighbors that would be stunned to hear that I'm coming out against Donald Trump. But I think that's necessary. I think as an American, I have to think about what's best for the country, about what's best for me.
I think I have, pretty good Republican credentials. If you care about this country, whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, Moderate, Progressive, you have to vote for Kamala Harris, because I think the threat to our democracy is that great.
The national security consequences for 4 more years of Donald Trump, I think, would be substantial and they would be disastrous.
It'll make us immeasurably weaker in the national security arena outside the United States. We will miss threats to the United States.
When Donald Trump came into office, I felt that he would grow into the role as other presidents have. But after his administration and after what happened on January 6th, he, to me, exposed what I think is a fundamental flaw in the Constitution, that it requires good men to do good things for the sake of the country. And I felt he couldn't do that anymore.
When Trump came on the scene and began to do and say the kinds of things that he said, I could not let people assume that I supported him because I was a military veteran. And so I felt it's now important for me to let everybody know, no, I do not support him or anything for which he stands.
I don't understand how a man who is commander-in-chief or was commander-in-chief can harbor such detrimental and condescending opinions of American soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Guardians, Coast Guard, who fought and died.
What really hit me hard is when he started demonizing immigrants. And I think it's really important for me to speak out so people understand who we are and what we bring to this country.
Vice President Harris is absolutely prepared to be the next commander-in-chief. She has the experience, she has the temperament, she knows what she knows, and she also knows what she doesn't know. She relies on the experts for advice and counsel, and then she makes the decision.
And we need leaders like that. We need people who will be willing to be a servant leader. We hear a lot about that in the military, about being a servant leader. Not everybody follows it. I don't consider Donald Trump a servant leader. I think of him as a I must be served leader, which is completely different.
She's well regarded overseas, and they're really praying for her to actually get elected instead of Trump. But when some of the negotiations, say they go to Camp David and they try to do another peace accord with warring parties, will she be accepted? Absolutely, she'll be accepted. She's got that reputation already, and I can't possibly see Donald Trump being successful in any of those negotiations, not once.
I mean, I don't wear my politics on my sleeve. People know I served in the Bush administration as a Republican administration. They assume that I'm a Republican, and I am. But they probably may assume that I'm, just a rocked rib Republican. Anybody that runs in the Republican ticket, I'll vote for. I don't do that.
Of course, you can still be a Republican and a conservative and vote for Kamala Harris. You're voting to save your nation. That is a very patriotic thing to do.